Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. My name's Anthony. I'm an addict and an alcoholic, another bozo on the bus, and I care about you.
And I'm LouiLou. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm recovering for crystal meth and alcohol, and I am always in search of balance. And each week we strive to foster a brave space where we can engage in conversations centered around topics of recovery.
And our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for more people in recovery by tackling issues sometimes used to separate us.
Yes, but before we do that, please like, share, and comment on this episode. Rate too.
Yeah. Comment. Leave us a comment. That's all I didn't mean to repeat myself. But I comment, ding that bell.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just letting it right out. All right. And now the disclaimer. The thoughts and opinions expressed on At the CCC are ours alone. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. In other words, we're just a couple of friends behind a mic here to entertain you. Oh, and everything we say is for general information purposes only.
Absolutely.
So, how is everyone?
I'm good. I was sick last week. I was supposed to go to Palm Springs, but I had to do the adult thing, and I realized, I had a head cold and a chest cold. Like, you can kind of hear it. I'm finally like getting better.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was one of those things where it's like, I stayed home all weekend. Like, this would happen. I had 4 days off, and all 4 days I was at home. It was so cool.
Yeah.
I live.
Did you do anything? Did you like
and I
watch
didn't go to work
shows
yesterday. I decided I'm going to stay home. So yeah. Oh God. Okay. So I've been watching on Netflix. It was a show from AMC called The Discovery of Witches.
Oh, I saw that. I haven't watched it yet.
I watched the first 2 seasons. I'm on the last season. It's 3 seasons. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's it about?
Okay, so it's about discovering witches. No.
Okay, bitch. Let's move on to the next question. Get out of here.
It takes place in England and France and whatever, and it's basically the idea is that it talks about how like witches and vampires and whatever and all these creatures lived before, and they're kind of becoming extinct, and so it is this. Yeah,
I mean, don't ruin it. No spoilers.
Yeah, I trust me. What I told you now is not even like. It doesn't even touch on it.
Oh wow, you're so sassy.
Well, I'm usually overwhelmed when I sign on to those services and I want to watch something and they're like 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me I gotta watch all this? Yeah, I don't have the attention span.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Anthony? I always forget.
What were we gonna say?
No, I always forget.
How are you doing? What were we gonna say?
Well, I don't know if
you're like doing the Kamala Harris mother.
No, I'm doing like no, exactly. No, I'm doing like moms who have like who have multiple siblings. When you have multiple siblings, and my mom used to name everybody until she got like, I'm like, my name is not Felicia. My name is not Destiny.
Are those the names of your siblings?
Yes.
Oh,
Juanita, Yolanda, Felicia, and Destiny.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's all girls and you?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
I always joke. I always like, bum. What's that sound? So wait till I say what I'm going to say and then do it again.
All right, go.
Okay, so my father kept trying for a boy and he almost got one.
So close.
Wow.
So close.
They have that sound?
Yeah.
I know. My father, if he's listening to this, he's all crying in the corner. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My lineage is ending with you.
But you're, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been so as y'all know, I started residency a few weeks ago.
You got a job.
So I'm really tired. Still adjusting to a new schedule. You know what's interesting is that like there are some days where I leave 7:30 in the morning and I come back at 7:30 at night. Like those are some days. I do that twice a week, and then the other days I'm just working 9 to 5. But there's just something about 9 to 5 that's exhausting.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's called work.
Yep.
So I feel like that's I think I feel like I'm pathologizing. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Our producer's laughing, and I don't know. I didn't hear the joke. So I was. Yeah, I guess that's it. I've been like this whole time. I've been thinking like, what's wrong with me? Why am I always so tired by the end of work?
I love it.
Yeah, I'm always so tired. And I normally go to the gym in the morning and I haven't been able to do that. And like my partner was like, oh, like just get adjusted. So I'm like getting adjusted, but I'm like tired. I haven't had a true 9 to 5 in such a long time.
It takes some time.
It does.
Takes time to get adjusted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Not that I
you
know
have to
about-
deal with personalities.
Not that I know about
You
this,
just
but
become a robot.
yeah, exactly.
like
You do it every day.
no real talk. Because I was thinking about like, oh, I need to come home and I need to get my clothes ready and I have to go to bed at this time and I need to prepare my food to walk in the and that's literally the entire week.
But how long have you been doing it right now? Like,
You didn't hear the first part of what I was saying?
No.
About how I've been doing this for a few weeks?
for a few months.
But a few weeks.
For a few weeks.
Yeah.
But that,
I'm in a month.
But I want you to hear that.
What?
I want you to hear that because it's like it's new. And once you establish a routine, and once you get to a place where you're no longer freaking out about, oh God, gotta get here on time.
Yeah.
Then you'll be able to kind of do other little things like reclaim some of the stuff. Yeah, reclaim your time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know what Bonnie Violet always says: give yourself some grace.
Yeah. I also want to give her a shout out in a second.
Actually,
But hold on, let me finish. So I listen to your shit, but yeah, there's more. You know what? I forgot. So that's fine.
that's a nice segue into
Yeah.
introducing
So we want to introduce our friend who we're really excited to have here. Her name's Thana. Thana, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Mhm.
I'm well rested. I will
love
say.
that.
Sorry to piggyback off of you, but I am not
piggyback.
working. So that's why
Okay.
I'm not working.
You have your own 9 to 5.
I got my own 9 to 5, and today it was HBO.
Oh, love
not
it, love it.
Netflix, HBO.
HBO. So I got rid of HBO because I felt like they didn't have enough.
when they changed because it was HBO Max, and then they changed to whatever, and I was thinking, what's going on here? This is where you guys are bamboozling me.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
It was like the same thing with like AMC Plus. I was only using AMC Plus because they had Interview with the Vampire.
right.
Yeah, otherwise it was like,
The new season is on Netflix, so I've been watching it again too.
oh word, yeah.
Not
I
the
don't
new
even
season,
use
the
it. I don't
first
use
season.
HBO that often,
No.
but like I was looking at my bills because I got this application.
Oh,
We can
Rocket
talk about
Money?
Rocket
Yeah, I
Money.
live for
Exactly. This
Rocket,
is not
yeah.
an ad for Rocket Money.
Yeah.
But
They don't sponsor us.
But they can. It's like if you
Start
guys want to
using
sponsor
it.
us, we will say
Yeah.
nice things.
right.
Straight up. No, I was like, wait a minute. Why do I
Seriously.
have 2 of the same
Exactly.
subscriptions?
I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, I don't use my HBO. And that's an expensive subscription. So let
Yeah.
me get in. Let me
Yeah.
get in and watch all of everything.
Yeah, real talk. Okay, one thing before we go to
Okay,
today's
all right.
topic. Sorry, was that all?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
it.
well,
That's
so
it.
you know what you're reminding me of is, I don't know if you've ever used YouTube Premium, so like YouTube without the advertisements.
Mhm.
That's like a life changer, right? So I
Is
did,
it really?
Yeah.
but listen. So, listen, Louis, what's your problem?
No, there's no problem. I just like you said, life changer, and I'm all thinking, okay, okay.
If you use YouTube
I take
often-
joy. I take joy in
Yes.
the simple things.
Okay.
Simple bitch.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
want any I don't want any commercials when I'm watching my cat videos. I do not want.
I
But
put
it's
on
not-
like meditation or meditative music at night, and I know if I heard an advertisement at 3 a.m,
Okay,
that's
okay.
super loud. Like,
Yes.
I jump
yes.
out of my bed.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's-
I got it.
It's
Yeah.
a lifesaver for those types of circumstances.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I'm so tired. Okay, so the last thing I was gonna, oh my god, we haven't even started the topic, but the other thing I was gonna say is, so I had the free version, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic, and then the free version was stopped. You know how much it costs to have YouTube Premium?
Much.
It's like $20 a month.
Yeah,
That is bonkers to me.
no, it is. It's like
I was like, man.
I went
And
through
can
it,
I
yeah.
tell you what I think they did?
What
Can I
they
tell you what I think they did? So I had the premium. Oh, so I had so I was using the free version. Then I had the premium. Do you know? I think those motherfuckers are putting more advertisements
Oh no.
and stuff. Because I'm like, oh, okay, I see you, YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I see you, YouTube.
like
Because
they
now,
sprinkled a little crack on the.
yeah,
the
they
other
go
one. It's
first. They
like,
were like, yeah, because now I'll be watching a show, and this never happened. I would watch like a 10-minute length thing, and now there's like 2 fucking advertisements dispersed within them, like interspersed. So, what the fuck?
So you went back to the free version.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I'm trying to be like financially responsible.
smart.
It's smart.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
smart.
I'm still
absolutely
in.
smart.
Yeah, well, I'm
Mature
still
thing to
in
do.
grad school. I'm still hella broke.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. So today's topic, this is part 2 of controversial topics in recovery. So we're basically talking about shit that people normally avoid talking about in sober spaces because, I think most people don't want things to pop off, and we want to like maintain healthy relationships. So
And most people don't want things to pop off, and there's some people that I will not have conversations with because I don't want to pop off. that's usually what it is. I'm trying to like keep myself, stay in my grace place,
in your Gracie placey.
in my Gracie placey.
So I guess most recent thing did we haven't talked about the debate, have we?
I don't.
No, I don't think we have.
I don't think so.
No, we haven't talked
I
about
don't
the
think
debate.
so.
Did you watch the debate, Thana?
I did watch the debate. And
did you watch it when you were in Peru?
I was in Peru
I
and
love
I
that.
had it
Okay,
on.
international.
I was international. I put on the debate and
You laughed.
I was like, this is a joke.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
This is a joke.
Yeah.
What is so interesting, and I don't know where I heard this from. There, this idea that like you have this man who is a reality TV star who is declining, clearly has mental decline, and the bar is so low, and the focus was on, is she going to answer this shit? Like, this is madness. This is like, hello, what are we in Disneyland? This is the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is a
surreal.
Twilight Zone. Well, and I was watching, I don't know if it was like Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon or I watch a lot of like late night with Seth Meyers, and I don't know who was talking about it, but they were saying that oh god, I forgot. I keep talking and like they're like blank spots now. That's how tired I am.
Let us help you.
I feel like
We'll help you.
I know exactly.
Feed your brain.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
It was, they were basically they were saying it's surprising how even after that type of debate, it doesn't move the needle much.
Absolutely.
Although I was hearing that she is up and she's like leading in a couple swing states. So my home state, which is Pennsylvania, I think she's leading there now.
Yeah.
But it's super important. Like if you are listening or whatever,
yeah,
I mean, we're pretty fortunate because I think that here, like we're insulated.
Yeah.
Like I can vote. I can vote more of my conscience here because I know, and maybe that's my privilege that I get to kind of decide how I'm going to do that. And it's not like it's life or death, but it's not life or death. Like I always vote regardless, but it's not life or death. Like if I decide to go a different way, it's not going to alter the course of California right now. But I still think my vote is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, work.
It was interesting, like traveling and being in Peru, because a lot of people were like trying to feel my friend and I out, like where we were on the political spectrum.
Oh,
Even though it
interesting.
wasn't clear
It
by looking at me. But yeah, then once they understood, like we're not Trump supporters at all, like everyone's like phew, and like they just had a lot to say, like it's just a joke for everyone, like internationally, like we just laugh, like it's just like it's a running worldwide joke.
Exactly. Half of the country is
folks.
going to need to be lobotomized.
Like, oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
the only good thing that he's done is he's shown a light on the racism that's always been there. Because I think it's fascinating. There are folks now, I can't believe we're going through this, and then you have all these people, brown and black people, are saying, "Yeah, this is kind of how." Like when you have somebody challenging me for my decision to vote for Kamala or whatever, and they're telling me that I if you vote for her, then you are complicit in this, that, and whatever, and I'm all. So the thing that frustrates me is I get to care about all of the things. I because it's not selfish for me to think of the fact that democracy is, or at least the way it is, which is not perfect, but is like it's on a chopping block.
yes.
And there are so many things that need to be kind of addressed, that are important. I had a really close friend who actually was on the podcast, and he was telling me, it's like he had posted something about like, well, you're complicit in genocide and this and that and whatever. And then I asked him, it's like, where are you at right now? You traveling right now? You traveling outside the country? I mean, I don't want to take it away from you, but it is kind of a privilege for you to sit on your perch and tell me that because I'm less interested in just thinking about one thing. I think that we can be multifaceted and care about a number of things. And yeah, I know. That's why I love that you're here because
Yeah.
I feel like you are a firecracker. I feel like I feel for me, I feel like even the conversation that I started talking about, like, and I think I had mentioned this to you
Yeah.
about the whole idea. I stay out of the conversation about
What?
Israel and Palestine or whatever
Mhm.
because I don't feel like I have enough information.
Mhm.
But the beauty of the podcast here is like I'm always trying to encourage people to have conversation.
Right.
I think it's important to
Right.
find the right people to have
Oh,
conversation with. Yeah.
absolutely. And like, I think for me, like, I choose to intentionally stay out of conversations because I have to learn over time. And that's like definitely related to my addiction and my insanity.
Bring it back to recovery.
Ooh, yeah. Like popping off on the internet, posting stuff. Like, it was not good for me. And I wasn't doing anything, you know? I was sure like spreading some awareness, but at the end of the day, I wasn't like changing the world. You know, I was just driving myself insane. And so I had to make a decision, a conscious decision, especially as a Black woman in America, because I'm going to have things that impact me every day, right?
That's
There's going to be
right, yeah.
stressors, there's going to be microaggressions, there's going to be racism, there's going to be all these things. So I have to pick and choose my battles because the odds right now are already not in my favor.
Yeah.
Right. So I have to be intentional about what I choose to engage in and not to engage in. And that does not mean that I don't care about it. Right. But I think I've just gotten to a point, and thanks to sobriety, where I do value my spiritual, my mental, my emotional health, that it's important to do that because then I can actually show up in ways that are actually useful to the world, right? Rather than just popping off.
I feel like you have to say that part again. Like you are mindful, or like that the fact that you are very thoughtful about what you talk about, and it doesn't mean I don't care about it.
Right.
I think so many people dismiss it, like, "Oh, you didn't speak up on this." I'm all, "Yeah, you don't know what I'm going through or what I'm dealing with," but yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. You know, you're bringing up something that Angela Davis addresses there in her book, Freedom is a Constant Struggle.
I told you he reads.
So she talks about how a lot of people have this opinion about like, well, I don't know enough about the Middle East. And she said, I haven't read this book in years, but she said that's not enough. This is not a criticism of you.
No,
but that it's not enough for us not to take a stand, right? Like not having yes, when we're making decisions, we should have as much information as possible. But given like the gravity of what's happening in the Middle East and has for such a long time, that we don't have that luxury, right? That it's not enough to say that we don't have enough information.
I guess I have to block out the noise because my stance is genocide is wrong.
Right.
On any level.
Right.
Where I kind of avoid the conversation is when they go into talking about this idea of Israel deserves this, Palestine deserves, like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Right.
And I don't get it, but I'm open to hearing people's thoughts. Like, I deliberately have started following those creators or whatever who kind of, in the beginning, they would open their mouth and say things, and it would be like, not this again. Stop talking. And then, and listening and realizing, okay, first off, this is the beauty of this country, that we get to have these conversations, that they get to challenge each other, and that I don't necessarily need to have this gaggle of people who think like I do, because that's going to limit me. It's going to keep me from growing in the way I need to. But yeah, trust me, it's like, I encourage you to, in hearing that, because I almost want to read that book now. So you make sure.
Angela Davis is yeah,
she's amazing.
You know, the other one the other good one that I like is I think it's called The Fire Next Time. It's by
James Baldwin. Yes, exactly.
That shit I was like, oh my god, that man is brilliant. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about, well, similar, just piggybacking off of you, is that I had an experience today where I was in a meeting and executive leadership was there, and one of the executive leader was like a white heterosexual cis man from, I won't say where they're from because I feel like you could figure out who that is.
Mountains of Caucasia.
But he's from a place that I'm very familiar with that has historically had racial issues. Like, this city is known for having issues. Like, they're
Okay.
very intense racial tensions there, and that there have been for years, and it's a problem. And it was like the first time that I have, since I've been in graduate school, I think, and it's been 9 years. So it's like the first time I was in a position where like the person in power, with literally the most power in the room, was like a white heterosexual cis man. And that shit brought up so much for me. And I was like, well, what's happening here? And I think what fucked me up was that because everyone who was subordinate, the majority of the people were women, number one. Number two, and this also makes me gag. The majority of the people that were there were women, and many of them had like more degrees and experience than he did.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that fucks with me,
Yeah.
where I'm like, I don't get this,
Mhm.
you know? But yeah, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, I went back and I was looking at the hospital leadership, because I was like, is this what this institution is about, you know? And I went, and there is some diversity. There's actually a lot of diversity at the national level with leadership, but there was just something about this that, like, I don't know what it was, you know? And I think it was I know what it is. I think I know what it is that people were behaving differently.
Yeah.
You know, people were like pandering during the meeting, and I felt like there was like a lot of ass kissing, and I was like, oh my God, like, are we really doing this right now?
With this situation, and you're talking about this is where you're
Yeah,
at
this is
now.
where I'm at right
So
now. Yeah.
you didn't have much of a choice, but is this something that you take into consideration, like a research that you do
Okay.
when you're looking for?
So yeah, that's such a good question, because I was talking to my clinical supervisor, and she said to me, she's like, Anthony, like, you know, you're getting a feel for what this is like, and you get to decide, you know, if this is like the type of institution you would want to work in.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I had another supervisor say to me, she's like, because this institution pays very, very well. And they're like, you know, a lot of us kind of keep our mouth shut because they pay so well.
Oh.
And like, that's
Yeah.
and, you know, and and she made that face too. She was
Mhm.
like, we have bills to pay. This is like a really good paying job. She's like, we kind of, you know, we insulate ourselves, you know, with like the culture that we have here.
Right.
And you know, the other thing I appreciated was that they were real with me, and they're like, hey, you know what, like, normally residents are protected from the hostility, but they were both saying like things will get hostile eventually between, you know, the executive leadership and you know, the clinicians. And so I guess it was like a rude awakening, because I've been so protected from most of that, but now I'm like actually out in the field, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not just this like researcher scholar anymore. Like, I'm actually in the real world, where like all of these things that we're talking about very much exist.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's tough, man. It's like that you have
Yeah.
to choose. Like, while you were talking about that, it's like, why should we have to choose, you know, getting paid what I'm worth, my value,
Yeah.
over my like peace of mind? Like, because the best job that I've had, I feel, in my life was working for the Black Coalition on AIDS.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I was making no money.
Mm.
I was making no money. It's like, and at one point, I had this coworker who jokingly said, you know, don't be surprised if you show up and the doors are locked, because it's a nonprofit and funding was coming from all these kind of interesting sources. Thank God they're still active and they're still doing like wonderful work, because it's necessary. But it's like, you have to fight all constantly, you know.
Yeah.
Fight for a seat at the table and say, hey, these things need to be addressed, you know. It's all good.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's tough. It's really tough. I feel like I was in your position before, in a team that I worked on. So I work at a tech company, and it was just a lot of that, you know, a lot of personalities, a lot of white people in power that were trying to,
like the one running this show right now. He's laughing over there. We love you, Steven.
And to be clear,
You
like,
can't
for folks listening, this isn't like an anti-white
Yeah.
conversation.
No, not at all, not at all.
Literally, like,
But
more than half of the people on the other side of the production table are white.
You can't come to the cookout, but we'll make you a plate.
Yeah.
we'll make you a plate.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
We'll
fire.
make you a plate.
But
go ahead.
you know, it's there's questionable people, regardless of the race. There's questionable people that are in positions of power that are protected too.
Yeah.
Like, we don't talk about that as well. Like, you know, once you start ruffling some feathers, it can get dangerous because HR is not like always there to support you.
No.
Like, I personally don't.
They're
trust
ultimately
HR.
there to yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
people who look like us, black and brown, who are there but who aren't really our allies.
Oh,
Yes.
gatekeepers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes,
Gatekeepers.
yes,
Yeah.
dangerous,
Okay, that's
dangerous.
real. That's real.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Were you gonna say something there?
Yeah.
Go.
And just like and so like the way that you have to like navigate those situations, or the way that I had to navigate it, is I had to find allies that I really trust, that are up higher than me, and like they're like, you know, horizontal as well. Like having those allies that are like true allies, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and they have to have power as well.
Exactly,
They have to be able to like sponsor you. And
Right.
because once you start ruffling feathers and going after those individuals, like it's a tough battle.
Yeah.
You get pushed out.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
I'm glad y'all brought it does.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all brought up like gatekeeper people, because
Mhm.
there have been 2 situations where I was in a subordinate role, and both of the people that were ahead of me and had a lot of power were both women of color. And those were dreadful situations for me. In both situations, they were absolutely dreadful. And I wasn't sure what was happening. You know, like I was constantly reflecting, like, am I doing something? Like, am I bringing, because I am the common denominator, you know? And then I thought, I don't know. But, you know, like I've had those experiences. And in one of those experiences, the person who was above me was openly hostile toward me. You know, she would say horrible things about me with her office door open, and she'd be screaming, and we could hear it in the hallway. And right. And conversely, I have also had like white people really like step in and take, well, because in that same situation, there was someone, I was at another hospital, and I had a few friends that were part of the executive leadership of the hospital, and they were very protective of me, you know, and they also took like a mentorship role, and they were both white people, right? So, you know, I guess I'm saying that last part to say that like racial relations or like identity politics are very complicated. And I think, and, you know, speaking to power, and I sent that, you know, Jinx Monsoon, she was talking to Trixie, and they were talking about privilege, and, you know, I live for Jinx, and she was saying, you know, privilege is not having to worry about things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not having to think about things.
Not take
you know what I mean?
worry about it into consideration.
You know what? No, you're just fine. You know, you can walk into a situation, not worry about anything. Where, you know, I feel like the other power dynamics that exist is like, especially when you're working, is that, for example, like if you decide to leave a place, you might need a reference, right? And so you have to be on good behavior, which means you're probably holding your tongue a whole lot, you know?
Oh God.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's a game.
Yeah, it is a game. It is a game. And you know, I mean, I was because I was just thinking about, like, you know, I've had this professional relationship with someone for many years, and she has a lot of power over me. And she's opened a lot of doors for me, right? But she says the most racist shit sometimes, and like some of the things she's said and done are like really abusive. But I'm like, I just need to take the L, because this is like, this person literally has if she didn't want it, I wouldn't graduate, right? Like that's the kind of power that she has. So
you have to take a shower after you leave.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, and that's what's complicated, and I feel like that's what's like part of the abuse, is that, and I adore her, you know, because she has done a lot of great things for me, but there's this other thing that it's like really hard to ignore.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the beauty of like I have relationships like that, where it's like they're not so cut and dry. They're not like, I have this one friend who I think is amazing, but thank God there's not a power dynamic in our relationship. And when he goes off the tracks, I like to guide him back in and let him know, hey, yeah, this might be funny to you, but I need you to know what I'm feeling in this. Because I always tell my sponsees, it's like, what do you think about the relationship? Do you value the relationship? And is it worth like losing the relationship to kind of be honest? Because I feel like the best way we're going to be together is if I'm my authentic self. Because before, I spent a lot of time really kind of just, do whatever. Mm-hmm. I just want to make you happy. And that worked when it worked, but it didn't work. And now it's like, I want to make you happy, but I also want to make me happy. Because when we're both happy, especially when I'm happy, things are going to be really good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Also, yeah.
That's a tough one, especially where you're at and where any of us who are concerned with, I want to leave a good impression. I want to go in there guns a blazing or whatever, but sometimes it's like I got to say what I need to say, and it can adversely affect you. Like even if it's something that should have been said, do I keep my mouth shut? Do I leave? What's going on?
Right.
And like to add another layer on top of that, like they already have a perception or a stereotype of you, right? Like, oh, she is that crazy Black woman.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you start like speaking up and saying your mind in a tone that they don't jive with, it's when the narrative switches real quick. And so it's like you're trying to navigate all of these facets.
Yeah.
Right. And so it makes sense that you have to like
Mhm.
make these trade-offs, and you have to think about, is it worth it? Do I need this person in the end? Like, is
Exactly.
this a long game? Like, what exactly is going on here? Right. Or what type of relationship it is. And so I totally get it.
Yeah.
We could take that right back to the what Kamala had to deal with in the debate.
Oh,
Because not only did she have to worry about all the everything, because he was just so disrespectful, like everything coming at it, but she also had to make sure that she was just stern enough, but not so stern that she looked like she was beating him like like an angry Black woman. And I'm like, seriously? Like, I would have loved if she had just said, motherfucker. Oh my God, I would have been like, yeah, you had my vote, but you got my vote. I'm gonna vote twice for you. I think that she was playing a long game, because she had that interview, and she talked about kind of but it was like she said the word without having to say it. That's power.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think she did a wonderful job.
She
I think
did,
she
she
did.
did.
Like I was like just clapping, like amazing.
Absolutely.
Her composure and like the way she handled everything.
Yes.
I should
phenomenal.
last week I was a little frustrated
Mhm.
when it first started, because
Okay.
she did the politician thing when they asked the question about when they asked the question about, are you better off? And I would have honestly said, yes and no. Like, you feel people are better off. First off, we're not in sheltering in place. We're not where we were with the pandemic. And I would make a point that he left us with this. That when we got to the door, he gave us this big bag of mess, and we cleaned it up.
Which also happened to Obama.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
so it's like, and then I would have dove into like, this is what we're doing to work on it. Like, I feel like I wish that there was a way to get it out to people, to let them know that we are in Trump's economy right now. When people complain about like everything being a certain way or whatever, we're under Trump's tax credit right now, and people are, oh my God, it was better then because he gave us $1,200. He didn't give us $1,200, but he insisted upon having his name on the check because he's a narcissist. I'm just I'm dramatic.
Yeah.
Spit.
Well, what I'm thinking, I think the thing, what fucks with me the most, and I felt this especially during the last election. Well, the second to last election, 2016.
Yeah.
Where it's like that. This is like what wealth and power does, right? That it protects you, that you have no consequences, right? So like, even now, he's like 80 or something. He's like, so like, even, what's going to happen? He has all these lawsuits. He's fine. He'll be dead before any of that shit gets resolved, right? And so there's that, right? There's like the no consequences, that like, that's what privilege and power does, I think the other thing is like, it's also when it feels like I saw this too when I was looking at the executive leadership page, where literally like all the people of color that were there, they had like 1 million degrees, but like the other folks, like maybe they had 1 degree, or maybe, you know what I mean? And I was like, and it kind of like, what it reinforced for me has been my experience, which is like, oh, I need to work 2 times as hard or 20 times harder than like a white person looking for a job, because that's just the way it's always been. Right. And like, because we're playing the credibility game. And I think that like, and I feel like people who live in like big cities like San Francisco and New York and maybe Miami, that like, I think there are ways that like, you know, my white friends are like, well, I don't see it. Or I don't, you're like, that doesn't feel like it's our reality here. And maybe because we're like in progressive environments, but I'm like, I don't know. I have been in plenty of situations where like, you know, like nepotism is like what got someone a job as opposed to like maybe merit or something
Absolutely.
like that.
And
Yeah.
like we
It's
said
just a
last
different
week,
flavor.
Yeah.
like if you do have privilege, because we all have some sort of privilege, that's not the problem. The problem is when you think that privilege is not what is giving you the upper hand
Yeah.
over someone who's working hard. It's like if we're not able to acknowledge that you have this privilege, because when folks use that tired ass like line, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. My bootstraps was my mom and dad, who were like my constant safety net, and it gave me. It's like, come on, yeah, okay, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. And I think that
The
they're
Gucci bootstraps.
Exactly.
the Gucci bootstraps. And I think that like that you know, maybe we can talk a little bit about like when we have seen kind of like ideal situations, you know, to end on a more positive note. Because I'm like,
Fuck,
you know what I mean? And here's another thing, you know what I mean? And this is why, and I have so much trauma, you know, like
Well,
I've been in therapy all my life. Racism, you know, so I'm broke.
Oh my God.
But what I was thinking about is like, you know, that I have seen, for example, where like I've been in like a conference room and a woman is being talked over and a white man will step in and say like, no, actually, I believe she was talking. You know,
yeah.
so I've seen things like that, you know, like where I've seen, and I know it gives me chills when like you see someone using their power and privilege to change dynamics, you know.
Absolutely.
And you know, and I've shared before where like one of the most memorable experiences that I had during graduate school is when this white trans woman saw that I was like interested in applying for this like job, and she's like, "Oh, I've worked there. I'm going to hook you up." You know, like she's going to help me prepare my materials and like interview and all that other stuff. So, you know, so what I'm getting at is like, aside from, you know, like racial politics, I mean, there's so many different forms of privilege and power. I think it's just, for me, it's easiest right now to talk about like race. But the thing is that I also see that like there are people who get, you know, my partner's white. You know what I feel like right now? I feel like the white guy who says a racist thing, but he's like, I'm not racist. I have black friends. Right. And I'm like, I'm not racist. My man is white. You know, I have white friends.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Everyone in this room does. Yeah.
We're a multicultural democracy.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is that, and my therapist is white. And well, because what I'm getting at is that like not all white people are the same, in the same way like not all black people or Latino people are the same, right? They're not all the same, right?
But I feel like the thing that's tough is that people are so limited in their ability to see that we're talking passionately about this. It doesn't mean that this is all we think. Like, you know, like when people say, access that you're talking about race. Well, first off, I don't have the privilege of not talking about it. And when I speak of it passionately, I'm speaking of it passionately because I feel this is a brave space. I can do that. But like I don't limit like how I feel about like, do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. And I think that, you know, and I think I'm also like, if I can be real for a second here, is that like, I feel like I'm also coming from a place of fear because I'm like, oh, people listening to this, like, will this come back and bite me in the ass? Am I foreclosing on certain opportunities because like someone or something that I might want to work for is going to hear this and they're going to like misinterpret what I'm saying. So I'm coming from a place of fear, you know, where there's a part of me that's like, where like, yes, I feel strongly about injustices and inequity and inequality. Of course, I feel strongly about those things. And what I feel like is happening for me right now is like, and in real time, I'm experiencing like the fear of like those power and systemic structures, right?
Yeah. Look at you.
Because I'm
like I always try to get him to cry before the end of the episode. You gonna cry? No, I
No.
was like, no,
I've
because
never cried online.
I know,
I mean,
I
on
know.
air.
no, but when I poke you with stuff and I'm all cry, God damn it,
Yeah,
this will be
yeah.
good for the ratings.
I know he's always like, he's always trying to get me to feel more than I want to feel.
Because I don't cry.
Yeah.
I don't feel those emotions. I feel some. Others are checked off, but I don't feel those.
Yeah.
I cry all the time.
I think it's a beautiful thing when like there are times when I'm with myself, like and I'll have moments, and what I cry about is really interesting. It's different. Like I think that what I love is that I found my empathy for other folks, because I feel like I was like a lot of people. I became so desensitized. You remember, God, when was it? It was like just before I got sober. It's like early 2000s when you had all of those mass shootings.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just like it was like commonplace and whatever. And after a while, it's like, okay, whatever. I guess this is just it. But then I remember there was one particular, and I heard the details of it, and I just cried like a baby. And I was thinking, this is not okay. And I was like, wow, you know what? And I was able to kind of feel in that moment. It's like, come on, okay, you're not dead. You're not dead. You get to feel this. This is real. It's like I am. And I was like, I refuse to let all of this craziness like kind of keep me from tapping into that part of me that cares about people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's all good. Thank you.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
Oh my God. Okay, good timing. Let's see those notes today.
The Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
You know what? I feel like this goes further and further away from me every week.
Okay.
Does it really?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I forget that you're wearing contacts.
Yeah. We provide programs and services that help people change their lives by supporting personal growth.
Our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community opportunity and support.
You can find more information, including all the ways to contact us, at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcast. Did I do 4 W's again?
Yes, and tune in every
Okay.
Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when we go live on our Castro Country Club Facebook and YouTube channels.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts.